You're told you need to be original. You're told to come up with an idea that no one else has thought of. You have ideas, but they're vague, scattered. You can't quite put them into words. Meanwhile, they make it seem so easy, so effortless. And you're wondering, what am I missing? You sit at your desk for 3 hours, staring at a blank page, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. You're waiting until you're in the mood, until motivation strikes. You feel like if you use someone else's frameworks, you're a thief. So you settle for the first mediocre idea that comes up. Midweek, you give up due to shiny object syndrome. And I'm a victim to this. I'll write about an idea, and midway through, I'm like, man, this doesn't align with me. I end up trashing it, throwing it in the bin because I don't think it's really worth pouring your energy onto something that isn't going to serve you. The way I like to think about it is this: does it get me up in the morning? Moving forward, you are a DJ, not a creator. Here's what nobody tells you about the geniuses. Steve Jobs didn't invent the touchscreen, the phone, or the internet. He sampled them and remixed them into the iPhone. He said, quote, greatness is trying to expose yourself to the best things humans have done, then bringing those things into what you're doing. Shakespeare wrote 38 plays, but only two or three had original ideas. Romeo and Juliet was a remix of a 1562 poem. Hamlet was a remix of a 13th century story. He didn't invent the story, he just remixed them. Same thing with James Dawson. He saw industrial cyclone in a sawmill, it's like 1920s tech, and asked, what if I put this in a vacuum? He didn't invent the vacuum, he just remixed the context. Einstein didn't invent the math or relativity. He built on Lorentz and Maxwell. He just noted the connections between their math and his thought experiments. You are not a creator from nothing. You are a DJ, remixing, collecting, gathering what already exists. Here's the formula: old idea plus old idea B plus your filter equals a brilliant idea. That's all it is. I want you to remember that formula. What makes ideas original is your filter. Two people can have the same idea and can consume the same sources and produce completely different outputs. No one has your experiences. No one else can produce your remix. This is the system you've been missing. Let me show you how it works. So here's the war inside your head. I wasted 6 months staring at a blank page before I figured this out. I used to think batch processing was the answer. Sit at my desk for 3 hours, force ideas out, grind until you like something good appears. Sunday night would come and the anxiety would hit. Tomorrow's Monday. It has to be original. I have to come up with it. It can't be like everybody else's. Monday, wake up 5 a.m., ready to do the deep work. 30 minutes in, I'm staring at a blank page, nothing. Just the cursor blinking. Scroll Twitter for 40 minutes telling myself it's quote unquote research. Frustration, felt like a fraud. The truth, I wasn't being creative. I had a system problem. I didn't have ideas because I didn't capture any ideas before that moment. I was trying to withdraw from an empty bank account.
Different scene, but let's get back to it. You are attention bankrupt. Wednesday came midweek. I was halfway through writing a newsletter I hated. Every sentence felt forced. Nothing aligned, nothing excited me, nothing stopped and asked myself, do I even want to continue doing this? That's when I made a vow. I never want to feel like this ever. So I built something different. But first, let me show you why you're stuck too. Maybe you know this feeling. You have ideas, but they're vague, scattered. You can't quite put them into words. Meanwhile, others seem so clear, so original, so effortless. You scroll through their feeds looking for the secret. There isn't one. They just have a system you don't. You watched 47 YouTube videos this week, read 3 books this month, and consumed 14 podcasts, and you still have nothing to say. You're not learning, you're hiding. Consumption feels productive. It's not. It's procrastination wearing a smart disguise. And then there's the voice, the one that whispers, this is stupid, before you even written it down. That one, the one kills 90% of 90. And then there's a voice, the one that whispers, this is stupid, before you even written it down. The one that kills 90% of your ideas before they exist. You don't have bad ideas. You have Underdeveloped ideas that you murder too early. You never let them breathe. You never let them become anything. Here's the truth. You're not idea poor. You're attention bankrupt. Every idle moment gets filled with noise. Waiting in line, pick up your phone. Eating lunch, you watch YouTube. Walking, listen to a podcast. Your brain never gets 10 minutes of silence. Ideas don't come from thinking harder. They come from capturing better. They come from noticing. They come from giving your brain space to connect dots instead of cramming it with more content. But here's the thing, it's not entirely your fault. You've been lied to your whole life about how creativity works. So, moving forward, I want to talk about the 4 lies that keep you stuck. So, you were taught that creativity works a certain way. They were wrong and it cost you everything. So, here's the first lie: some people are just born creative. You believed it. You looked at people producing ideas effortlessly and thought, man, they have something that I don't. So you stopped trying before you started. You outsource your thinking to real creatives. You consume their work instead of consuming your own. The cost? Years of believing you weren't capable. The truth? Creativity isn't a gift, it's a skill, and skills can be trained. Here's that second lie: ideas strike like lightning. You wait until you're moved, until you feel ready, until you feel inspired. You sit at your desk hoping something magical would happen. It won't. Lightning will never strike. The moose will never arrive. The people you admire aren't waiting for lightning. They're engineering storms. Ideas aren't struck, they're built. So here's a third lie: you need to feel inspired before you can create. This one's so big. You tell yourself you start when motivation hits, when the timing is right, the perfect weather, the perfect situations, when you finally feel creative, but you never feel ready. You never start. And because you never start, you never feel ready. It's a loop that keeps you stuck forever. It's a cycle. Here's the truth: inspiration doesn't cause action, action causes inspiration. You don't wait until you feel ready. You start and readiness follows. So one good metaphor that I really like is the snowball effect, right? It's like once you just start rolling that snowball, you get momentum, it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's the same with action. Start small. Something small. And that grows and grows and grows and grows the more you do. It's like momentum starts to build. And line number 4, if it's not 100% original, it's worthless. You pressure yourself to be the most original thinker ever. You're terrified of using someone else's structure. You call yourself a fraud for building on existing ideas. But tell me, you really think creators pull ideas from just thin air? Steve Jobs, Shakespeare, Einstein, all samplers, all remixers, all building on what already exists. Originality isn't creation from nothing, it's combination. Your filter makes it original, not the raw materials. But you didn't know that. So you judged your ideas too early. You killed them before they could develop, and you gave the world nothing because you demanded perfection. These 4 lies created a loop that's been stuck for years. You consume, you compare, and you freeze and repeat. You consume content hoping for a breakthrough. You compared yourself to people who seemed effortless. You froze because nothing felt original enough. And then you repeated the cycle, but there's another way. Ideas aren't magic, they're mechanics. And once you understand how they actually work, everything changes. So, moving on, the truth is, here's how ideas actually work. So, how do ideas actually work? Ideas are built, not struck. It's a repeatable process, and processes can be learned, practiced, and systematized. Here's exactly how. So, step 1, collect. Before building anything, you need raw materials. Fill your mind with books, conversations, experiences, observations, but not just any inputs. Read books outside your field. Talk to people who disagree with you. Notice what frustrates you. Frustration is data. Collect problems, not just solutions. Look at what confuses you. Confusion means your brain is encountering unfamiliar patterns. The more diverse your inputs, the more unique your combinations. This is why consuming the same content as everyone else gives you the same ideas as everyone else. Quality matters, diversity matters. Step 2, connect. Your brain finds patterns automatically. It's what brains do. But here's the problem: you never give your brain the silence it needs. You fill every gap with noise. So the connection never surfaces. The best ideas are trapped under layers of content you didn't need to consume. Connections don't happen when you're grinding, they happen when you're not trying. When you're in the shower, on the walk, half asleep at 2 a.m., your brain is working even when you're not. The shower isn't magic. It's just the first time you shut up long enough to hear the answer. Your subconscious does the heavy lifting. It works on problems in the background while you're doing other things. You just need to give it space. This is why scheduled boredom matters. More on that later. Step 3, it's create. The combination becomes something new. You don't create from nothing, you assemble from collected parts. The aha moment isn't magic, it's your conscious mind finally recognizing a connection your brain already made. It feels like inspiration, but it's mechanics. Your filter is your edge. Now, here's what makes it yours. Two people can read the same book and walk away with completely different insights. Two people can listen to the same podcast and apply it in an opposite way. Why? Because they have different filters. Your filter is your experiences, your struggles, your weird obsessions, your specific lens on your world. No one else has lived your life. Naval Ravikant said it best: escape competition through authenticity. No one else has your specific combinations of the things you failed, the things you succeeded at, the industries you worked in, books that changed you, conversations that stuck with you, problems you solved. Same ingredients, different chef, different dish. This is why your remix is different from everyone else's. Your filter is the variable no one can copy, right? Original thinking is perception. It's not about what you create, it's about what you collected and how you combine it. Your filter is your edge. This changes how you see yourself, and your old identity is I'm a creative person waiting for inspiration to this is your new identity. I'm an idea builder with raw materials. You shift from passive to active, right? From waiting to building, from hoping for lightning to engineering storms. Think of ideas like Legos. You don't wait for the perfect piece to fall from the sky. You collect pieces, you stack them, you build. The more pieces you have, the more you can create. You want to know the difference between you and the creators you admire? They're not more talented than you. They just have more inputs. They read books that challenge their worldview. They follow people who think differently. They ask, how does this connect to what I already know? They've developed sharper filters through years of doing the work. The gap between you and them isn't talent, it's systems. The question is, will you build the system or keep waiting for lightning that never is going to come? Let me show you what's at stake. So you have two paths, one choice. You have two paths in front of you. The choice isn't one time, it's daily, but the direction you choose today determines the trajectory of your entire future. So path one is you keep waiting. This is what 99% of people default to, and you're a part of it. You keep consuming podcasts, books, videos, every social media format. You keep waiting for lightning to strike. You keep comparing yourself to other creators, make it seem effortless, right? You keep comparing yourself to creators who make it seem effortless. Every day, your confidence erodes a little more. You react instead of create. Your output stays generic. Your ideas feel derivative. You're always one step behind. And so, path number two is you start building. Imagine building a system for capturing your ideas. Every idea you ever have gets captured. No judgment, no filtering. You start connecting the dots. Others miss because you have diverse inputs. You stop waiting and start creating before you even feel ready. You become the person who generates ideas on demand. Your output becomes original. Your ideas compound over time. You develop a unique voice. You lead conversations instead of following them. You create the work that feels exciting to you. One path satisfies the algorithm, the other satisfies you. One path is passive, the other is active. One path is reaction, the other is creation. One path is waiting, the other is building. Most people choose path one by default. They don't actively decide, they just drift into it, they go with the flow. But you're not most people. You're still reading this. Or right now, you're still watching this. If you want path two, here's your exact system. So here's your new mental architecture. I want you to understand this. These are tools. These aren't steps. You don't need all eight at once. You don't need to follow them in order. Just pick one, master it, add another, rotate based on where you're stuck. If you're stuck on inputs, use one tool. Stuck on blank pages syndrome, use a different one. Think of it like a mental gym. You don't do every exercise every day. You focus on what needs work. Some days you use one lever, some days three. The system that adapts to you, not the other way around. You're in control. So, finally, the sauce. Here are your 8 levers. All right, here is number one. Levers 1 through 3. The idea machine. So, number one is feed your brain. Most people are exposed to the same information. They consume the same content. They follow the same people. Then they wonder why the ideas feel generic. It's a quote from Dan Coe. Brilliant ideas are connections between existing things. You can't connect what you haven't collected. Most people consume volume, but not diversity. They read 10 books in the same niche, follow 50 creators in the same space, and wonder why their ideas feel derivative. Here's what to do instead. Read outside your main field: history, biology, psychology, economics, architecture, music theory. Collect interesting quotes, problems, contradictions, curiosities. Save things that make you say, huh, that's odd. Ask AI, here are my favorite creators, right? Give it the list and ask it, what are similar creators I should follow? You'll probably get 5 to 2 new perspectives you never would have found. Ask yourself, what can I steal from this and apply to my domain? Stephen Johnson calls it, quote, the adjacent possible. You can only create if there's already an existing idea to build from. Think of your brain like Legos. If you only have 10 pieces you can make about 3 combinations. If you have 1,000 pieces, you can make 100 combinations. But here's the real power. It's not about consuming more and more. It's about combining what has never been combined before. This is called cross-domain thinking. Steve Jobs studied calligraphy and computer science. No one else combined those two. That's why Apple's typography was revolutionary. James Dyson studied industrial sawmills and vacuum cleaners. No one else made that connection. That's why the bagless vacuum didn't exist until he built it. Your brain doesn't make more connections with diverse inputs. It makes different types of connections, connections that specialists will never see. That's the difference between a derivative idea. It's a big mouthful word. Okay, back to it. Got a little lost. So that's the difference between a derivative idea and an original one. The rule: inputs must slightly confuse you. That's where ideas form. If everything you consume feels comfortable, you're not feeding your brain. You're reinforcing what you already know. Number two, capture sparks immediately. Most people have ideas all day long, in the shower, on a walk, right before sleep, and they think, I'll remember this later. They won't. Your brain can only hold about 7 things in working memory at once. Ideas evaporate in seconds. By the time you sit down to write, it's gone. Here's exactly what to do instead. Capture every idea the moment it appears. No judgment, no filtering, no, I'll write this down later. Carry a notebook. Use your phone's notes app. Voice memo while driving. Whatever works. You just gotta capture it immediately. Don't write full sentences, write fragments, single words, whatever triggers the memory later. Lego metaphor for ideas. Frustration equals data. That's 2 examples there. Why do I avoid creating on Wednesdays? Here's why it works. Ideas are fragile. They appear for seconds, then disappear. Your brain is designed to forget. It's a feature, not a bug. Your brain clears out unimportant information to make room for survival tasks. If you don't capture an idea within 30 seconds, your brain assumes it wasn't important. It gets overridden by the next thought. But here's the thing: you can't judge an idea's value in the moment it appears. Most most breakthrough ideas sound stupid at first. The post-it note, Twitter, Airbnb, they all sounded ridiculous when first captured. Capture now, judge later. The rule is, if you think it, ink it. No exceptions. The best ideas you will ever have is worthless if you forget it. Number 3 is ask better questions. This is profound. This is such a profound idea here. Brilliant ideas often start as better questions, not answers. Most people ask surface level questions, they get surface level answers. Their ideas stay shallow. Most people ask, what should I do? Then what they should be asking is, what problem am I avoiding? The second question reveals 10x more. That's a quote from Dan Coe. You can't think beyond the quality of your questions. If your questions are shallow, your thinking stays shallow. If your questions are deep, your thinking goes deep. I used to ask vague questions like, what should I write about? Now I ask, what's a contrarian view? What's the opposite approach? That one shift unlocked 10x more ideas. Here's three examples, not how do I come up with good ideas? Instead, what kills ideas before they develop? Not what's the best to do list strategy? Instead, how can I turn the not to do list into a habit? Not why can't I come up with ideas for writing? Instead, say this: what problems do I have that are valuable to solve? Charlie Munger says, invert, always invert. It's easier to identify what not to do than what to do. Inversion reveals blind spots. The rule: don't wait for ideas, ask better questions. Okay, so system number 4 is combine two unrelated things. So most people look for ideas within their own field. They read marketing books to get marketing ideas to stay in their lane. It's no wonder why ideas feel stale. Here's the thing: the best ideas come from forcing connection between unrelated things. This is the number one idea engine. Innovations happens at intersections. I've seen this in my own work. When I combined storytelling with content creation, everything changed. I stopped writing tips and started sharing experiences. People connected with that. But how do you actually do it? Method number 1: force a connection between your field plus a random concept. Right? Pick your field: writing, fitness, business. Pick an unrelated field: biology, architecture, chess, gardening. Force a connection. Example: how would a gardener grow an audience? Plant seeds, content, nurture, engagement. Prune dead branches, cut what doesn't work. Seasonal cycles, content themes. So here's method number 2: take a principle from one domain, apply it to another. Second order thinking from chess: what happens 2 moves after I post this? Progressive overload from fitness: how do I make my writing 1% better each week? Crop rotation from farming: how do I rotate my content theme so the soil doesn't deplete? Here's method number 3: the analogy method. Find a complex system in an unrelated field, use it as a metaphor. Your content strategy is like a coral reef. Build slowly, attract life, need specific conditions to thrive. Your business is like a jazz band: improvisation, listening, solos versus ensemble. The point is, you don't need new ideas, you need new combinations. Force connections between things that don't belong together. That's where originality lives. So, number 5, create before you feel ready. 99% of people wait until they feel ready to create. They wait for lightning to strike, nothing gets done. Here's the thing: inspiration doesn't cause action, action causes inspiration. You don't get confident to speak, you speak and confidence follows. Same with creating. But how do you actually do this? Here's method number 1: start before you know where it's going. It doesn't matter if it's bad, half assed, sloppy, just start. Method number 2: start with a fragment. Don't wait for the full idea. Start with one sentence, one question, one observation. When I wanted to journal more, I didn't commit to 10 minutes, right? I committed to one line, one sentence. That small commitment, that small shift unlocked consistency. So the rest appears as you write. That's how you start. You need to start small, not I'm going to go to the gym. It is I'm going to work out for 5 minutes. I'm going to go on a 5 minute walk. You have to make it stupid, embarrassingly easy. Okay, so method number 3 is set a timer: 10 to 20 minutes. This removes the pressure of finishing, it lowers the stake, it gets you past the resistance. Method number 4 is call it a draft or experiment. Don't call it the final version, call it draft 1 or experiment or rough sketch. This removes perfectionism. You can always improve it later. I don't write newsletters, I write drafts that I happen to send. Co. Method number 5: create in public. Tweet your half-baked thoughts, share rough drafts, let people see the process. This creates accountability and removes the pressure to be perfect. Here's why it works. Your brain wants certainty before you start. It wants a plan, a roadmap, a guarantee. But creativity requires uncertainty. You can't know what you'll create until you create it. It's It's called the Zygmanic effect. Your brain remembers incomplete tasks better than finished ones. Once you start, your brain wants to finish. It keeps working even when you're not. That's why you get shower thoughts. Your brain's still solving the problems in the background. You can't edit a blank page. You can't improve what doesn't exist. The act of creating gives you, the act of creating gives you raw material to shape. Then you refine. Then you iterate. You don't learn to swim by reading about swimming. You jump in, flap around, fail, and then you figure it out. Same with creating. You don't figure it out by writing, by thinking. You figure it out by actually doing the damn writing. So, the first draft is supposed to be bad. That's the point. It gives you something to work with. The rule is you don't rise to the level of feeling ready. You fall to the level of your willingness to start messily. Create first, refine later. Number 6, schedule boredom. You're constantly filling your days with noise. Every idle moment you get gets filled with stimulation. Waiting in line, phone, eating lunch, YouTube, walking, podcast. Your brain never gets 10 minutes of silence. No gaps, no silence, no space. Quote, we don't make enough time for unstructured thought. This is where novel connections are formed, end quote. Andrew Huberman. Your default mode network never activates. The DMN is where insights happen. Thoughts connect, creativity emerges, self reflection occurs, but it only activates when you're not consuming content. Because of constant simulation, your DMN never turns on. No insights, no synthesis. Here's how to fix it. Method number 1, no phone walks. Walk for 10 to 20 minutes with nothing in your ears. No music, no podcast, no calls, just walking. Let your mind wander. Here's method number 2, boredom blocks. Put 30 minutes on your calendar. They will do nothing. No phone, no book, no laptop. Just be present. Commute without music. Just let the mundane tasks occupy just enough of your brain that the rest can wander. Here's method number 3, the airplane mode morning. Your first 60 minutes of your day, no phone, no email, no input. This is a rule I learned from Mind Holiday that saved me my mental bandwidth. Just coffee, notebook, and your thoughts. Don't write immediately, just think. Here's why it works. When you focus on tasks like reading or writing, your brain is in task positive network. When you stop focusing, your brain switches to default mode network, DMN. It's like a background processing. It's where your brain reviews what you've learned, connects desperate ideas, and generates creative insights. The catch, it only activates when you're not filling your mind with noise. If you're always consuming, DMN just never activates. It's like running a focus, it's only activated when you're not filling your mind with noise. If you're always consuming, DMN never turns on. It's like running a computer with no background processes allowed. You're like a DJ mixing tracks. Focus mode equals actively DJing, mixing the songs. Diffuse mode equals listening to the mix, hearing what works. You can't hear the mix if you're always adding new songs, right? Connections happen when you're not trying, in the shower, on a walk. The rule is your brain can't connect dots if you never shut up long enough to think. It's okay to do nothing. You've just been conditioned to think that you need to use every waking hour productively. Okay, moving on to the next couple of systems, system 7 and 8. So, 7 is steal like an artist. Most people steal the wrong way. They see something they like and copy it word for word. They plagiarize, they mimic the style, the voice, the surface. Result, cheap imitation. Here's the thing, steal like an artist, not a forger. Quote, immature poets imitate, mature poets steal, bad poets deface what they take, and good poets make it into something better, or at least something different. End quote, T.S. Eliot. Quote, Picasso had a saying, good artists copy, great artists steal. We have always been shameless about stealing great ideas. End quote, Steve Jobs. But how do you actually do it? Don't steal the paintings, steal the brushstrokes. Study the structure, not the surface. Here's method number 1. Outline first, fill second. Don't read for content. Read for structure. Outline the piece you're studying, just the skeleton. Then fill that skeleton with your own materials. Here's method number 2. Study the constraints. Every creator works within limits. Study how they sought for those limits. Apply that problem solving approach to your constraints. Method number three is the mashup. Steal one thing from source A, one from source B, one from source B, combine through your filter. That's originality. Here's method number four. Study what they left out. Good creators are defined by what they cut. Study the negative space. What did they omit? Why? You don't want, quote, you don't want to look like your heroes. You want to see like your heroes. End quote, Austin Kleon. The rule is study patterns, not products. Okay, system number 8, weekly idea workouts. Most people wait for the perfect idea. They generate one or two thoughts a week, judge them harshly, and wonder why they feel stuck. The result is low volume, low quality, zero confidence. Here's the thing, volume precedes quality. Quote, the most prolific creators aren't more talented, they just generate more ideas. Quantity is the path to quality. End quote, Dean Keith Symington. Bad ideas are just underdeveloped good ones. You can't improve what doesn't exist. You need to put in the reps to find the gold. Here's method number 1, the weekly idea dump. Set aside about 30 minutes once a week, generate as many ideas as possible. Bad, mediocre, embarrassing, it doesn't matter. Write them down with zero judgment. Don't evaluate them until the next day. Removing the exceptions of the quality allows you to accept whatever surfaces. Statistically, if you generate 20 ideas, 2 will be worth keeping. Here's method number 2. Set a quota, not a goal. A goal is vague. I don't, quote, I want to have good ideas, end quote. A quota is specific. Quote, I want to have good ideas, end quote. A quota is specific. Quote, I would generate 10 ideas by Sunday, end quote. Quotas remove the pressure to be perfect. You don't need to be inspired. You just need to hit the number. Moving on to method number 3.
Method number 3, review and refine. Every Sunday, review your list. Pick the best 2 to 3 and develop them into your next projects. Trash the rest. Repeat next week. The rule, 10 bad ideas beat 1 perfect idea every time. The weekly idea workout is how you build your creative muscle. The death of originality. We're living in the deja vu era of the internet. Scroll through X or Substack. It's a sea of generic advice. Everyone is rehashing the same ideas with different hooks. Everyone wants to be a guru after reading deep work once. It's boring, it's predictable, and it's dangerous for your future. If you aren't original, you aren't relevant. And if you aren't relevant, you won't survive the modern internet. You'll burn out chasing trends, trying to please an algorithm that doesn't care about you. Full credits to Talon for this, Talon Johnson Simmons, for that idea. He has a newsletter called Deja Vu Originality, I believe. I might be mistaken, Talon. If you're watching this, I'm so sorry. Moving forward, the AI equalizer. So, AI has killed the knowledge gap. Everyone has access to the same information, the same prompts, and the same research. You can't outcompete a machine on data. Naval Ravikant said, escape competition through authenticity. The only way to beat the AI equalizer is to be unmistakably you. AI has information, but it doesn't have your stories. It doesn't have your failures. It doesn't have your unique lens on the world. Originality is the modern moat. Your advantage isn't what you know, it's how you see. Originality isn't about repeating what has been said, it's about combining what has never been combined before. It's synthesizing your unique interest with lived experience to create something new. While everyone else uses the same frameworks to produce the same content, you use yourself as the advantage point. Here's the path to originality. Everyone starts unoriginal. It's the entry fee, but most people stay there. They photocopy success and wonder why their versions doesn't hit the same. To build your moat, you must move through 2 stages. Strategic imitation, the apprenticeship, study the greats, read the classics, reverse engineer what is working right now, but don't just copy the words. Ask, what did the author miss? What can I add to make this exceptional? Second, the incubation, the silence. Borrowed ideas only die when you give yourself space to think. You need to step away from the noise to hear your own voice. This is where your filter sharpens. When you stop asking, what will the algorithm like? And start asking, what do I actually believe? You start being a student and start being a leader. Originality is an act of rebellion. It's the only way to build a career that lasts. So here's the truth about you: you're not uncreative, you're unsystematic. You're not waiting for the perfect mood, you're building the conditions. Ideas don't appear out of nowhere. They're Legos, and now you know how to stack them. You started this newsletter believing ideas required pure originality. Now you know the best ideas are stolen. Old idea A plus old idea B plus your filter equals originality. The difference between you and the people still suck. You had the system. They're still waiting for the lightning. Tonight, capture one idea, just one. Don't judge it, don't develop it, just capture it. That's how it starts. The people who change the world don't wait for permission. They don't wait for inspiration. They create conditions, they build systems. They start before they're ready. The system is yours now. Use it. If this changed how you think about ideas, share with one person who needs to read this. P.S. I wrote this because I spent 6 months staring at a blank page before I built this system. If it saves you one night of anxiety, it was worth it. So I would talk to you guys soon.